I'd like to call to order the Town of Willington Inland and Wetlands Watercourses Commission today, May 20th, 2024. Call to order. We have David Jordan, Ralph Toulis. Absent right now is Mark Drobny. There are no seating of alternates. There are currently no applications to be received. Next item on the agenda is approval of minutes. And I believe we have minutes from the March 25th, 2024 meeting. But I believe Mr. Toulis, if you'd like to speak, you had something to say that there were some other minutes that were missing.
Yes. The October 2, 2023 minutes were never approved. The December 18, 2023 minutes cannot be found. And then, of course, we have March 25th and April 22nd for 2024 minutes to approve.
Mike, can you speak to any of those?
So everything up through to this coming meeting, what you're looking at for 422 is filed with the clerk. I know that two of them weren't online. When I looked at the minutes, I saw that the 10-2 minutes were approved. The 12-8 was a special meeting that we moved up, I think, for some reason. So the only thing I didn't have a chance to look at was if we have all the members here that we did for all of those to be able to approve them. But I can have all of them on the agenda for the next meeting and send them out again. So you can just take care of them all, but they are filed.
They may be filed.
I should have them on my computer as well. I'm just not in the office this week.
Okay, I looked online. I cannot find December 18, 2023. It's not posted online. I'm not saying they haven't been recorded with the town clerk. They just haven't been posted online.
Could that meeting have potentially been canceled based on
There was no canceled agenda put out for that meeting.
Okay.
Yeah, the 12-8 we had special. I can't remember why, but we moved it up for an application. So it would be 12-8, that one, and then I'll go back to look to see. So it'd be those two. I'll put them on the next meeting agenda. You can go through them all and deal with them individually.
How are they distributed, Mike?
The minutes?
Yes.
So they typically go out with the agenda. So this meeting agenda would have as part of the packet the minutes that you're approving.
Okay.
Mike, the October 2nd, 2023 minutes were on the 12/18/2023 agenda. So they might have been approved that evening, but there's no minutes available for the 12/18/2023 meeting. At least not online.
Yeah. So I'll look. The first thing we did just today was verify that they were actually recorded, because even though everybody accesses them online, the recordings are what actually make them legit. So like I said, I'll go through, pull them all, we'll look at them, and I'll have them on the next agenda.
Okay, that's fine.
So based on what I heard, we need all members that were present and seated in order to vote on the meeting minutes as presented.
You need to have at least 3 members there, and I wasn't sure how far back. I can't remember when Dave actually left, and so I was worried that we would have had a meeting with him, and that would have been when there was just those 3. But I think we'll be okay because the 10-2 minutes were approved, so we should be fine.
I think I came on just as Dave came off. So I think we covered the minimum requirement.
Okay.
Yeah, both Dave Jordan and myself were present for the October 2nd meeting.
Okay.
So what I'm looking at is review and approval of the March and the April 2024 meeting minutes. So if Mark is not here, are we allowed to vote on those?
As long as the others have reviewed them. If not, you can table them. You need to have at least 3 people vote on the minutes that were at the meeting or have familiarized themselves with it.
Okay.
Yeah, I will move approval of the minutes,
Which meeting?
the March one.
So let's look at the March 25th, 2024 meeting minutes.
Oh, here comes Mark.
I took a look at these. I had no issue with those, so Mark online.
Yep, he's here. He's just muted, but he's connected.
Let's give him a second. Thank you, those waiting to present to the commission. I appreciate your patience. Mark, are you there? Okay, there's a motion on the floor from Mr. Jordan to approve the March 25th, 2024 meeting minutes. Is there a second on that from the
A
commission?
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. All right. Next, we'll move on to the April 22nd, 2024 meeting minutes. So this is what an application that was received that we're going to hear tonight.
I'll make a motion to approve the April 22nd, 2024 minutes for the Inland Wetlands and Watercourse Commission.
I'll
Is
second.
there Mr. Jordan second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Moving on to the next item on the agenda. Oh, bear with me, I gotta get back to it. Hold on. Is public hearing. There is no agenda on public hearing. Next brings us to new business. Inland wetland application 24-3. Application for wetland disturbance associated with fill repair of existing culvert for site access. 0 Turnpike Road, map lot 462300. Applicant M. Peterson, owner SBSC Realty Group LLC. I believe there's some folks here to speak to the application, so if you would, please walk us through it.
Good evening, Mark Peterson, Gardner and Peterson Associates. I prepared the plan and presented the application for the temporary crossing. With us tonight is Richard Zulik, certified soil scientist, who marked out the wetlands on the property and who I've consulted with on this application. So I thank you for posting last month's meeting on YouTube. First time I've watched a meeting on YouTube, but found it very helpful since I had a conflict with a meeting in Ellington last month and wasn't able to attend the introductory meeting. So I did listen to that and took your comments, and you'll see we've made a lot of changes to our approach with this application. You may recall originally we had a gravel was going to be installed so we could provide a temporary crossing to get a mini excavator over to the property to dig some test pits, some feasibility test pits to see what we have for soils on the west side of the crossing. That would be Ruby Brook. I also did revise that on our plan. So we've had a number of discussions. We've changed our approach, and instead of providing the gravel crossing, we're going to have a timber matting crossing. We think this will eliminate some of the concerns that I heard by the commission at the April meeting, where this matting could be installed. We would expect the next day we would go in and do our testing, be on site for one day, and then come back and remove those mats the following day, having minimal impact in the area of the culvert and leaving no gravel behind, eliminating this concern for any material washing downstream if there's some more torrential storms like we've had over the years. We've made a big change to our application, and hope you'll support that.
Well, thank you for reviewing the minutes and the discussion, because I think I don't know if any of the other commissioners were able to go on their own and just take a look at the crossing itself. But when I was out there, it appeared that, you know, this is a very insufficient crossing for this stream, and the flow is very constricted based on the current conditions. So I appreciate that you looked at that, and to access the property and do what you need to do, you're going to use some temporary matting instead of filling in with 40 yards of material. Any other commissioners would like to speak to that? Were you able to get out there and take a look?
Yeah, I took a look at it. I was actually struck by the size of the gully, the depth of it and the width of it. And I felt that the proposed amount of fill that was being proposed was way insufficient to accomplish, allow a machine to get across that gully. So I appreciate taking a different approach. I still have the same question, because that crossing, that it's about 10 feet deep. I think 8 to 10 feet deep to the top of the plastic culvert that goes through there. And I just don't know how a piece of equipment can go down and back up again the other side. Maybe it can. If it can, then that's fine. If it can't, then maybe you have to have more, add more material, whether it be timber or whatever.
So David, they changed their scope of work and their methods. So what they're going to do is they're going to span the banks of the stream, if the applicant wants to confirm this. But what they're going to do is use timber matting, which is used similarly in some of the forestry practices where it's just temporary, and it spans the banks of the stream, so there's no impact to the stream itself. They're just going to kind of walk the equipment over that, and then they can pull that out. If Richard's online, or the applicant can speak to how that works.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'd agree with your assessment. There may need to be some other logs under the mat for some stabilization. but there'll be a series of mats laid from the edge of bank to over the existing culvert and then to the far edge, which we could get a piece of equipment safely across.
Are you planning on disturbing the banks at all? To decrease the slope of the bank?
I'd say as little as possible.
Okay.
Rick, you have any thoughts on?
It depends on how the crossing comes out. We'll probably put some logs down to stabilize the area and then mat over the top of it. I think we've got something in the area of 10 or 12 mats. These mats are 7x9 railroad ties, typically 10 or 12 feet long and 5 feet wide. They can be picked up with a machine and placed in the position. It may be necessary to cut the banks on both sides just a little bit to make a safer crossing, but I can put that back as it was when we finish.
Okay.
I have a question, Mark Peterson. Will that corrugated PVC pipe stay in the channel when you do this work? I would assume that it would, but
Yeah, we don't want to touch that. Yeah.
okay.
We don't want to remove it now.
Okay, so by adding logs, you'd put one on either side of that corrugated pipe, I would assume.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
And
Yeah,
that would,
because it appeared to be, oh,
Yeah.
go ahead, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, that would distribute the load so that the culvert's not damaged.
Correct. Because it appeared there was a head wall that was built with some larger stone at the inlet of that pipe, but probably due to high flow, water rushed over that and washed everything off the pipe, which is now constricting the stream flow. So I would ask the applicant, based on, in the future, looking at, based on your soil testing results, when you come back to the commission for potential development of the properties, is start thinking about an appropriate stream crossing and how you could span this stream in an appropriate way in the future to restrict stream flow as it is now and to kind of restore that bank, because it's very eroded, and just start thinking of ways how you can come up with a restoration plan and a proper stream crossing in the future. But I think for right now, for you to access this property, this is probably the best way to do that, to minimize any further impacts to the stream. So I appreciate you looking at that and coming up with this plan.
Mhm.
So are there any further questions from the commission?
No, I'm good.
So based on the information provided from the applicant, it looks like they're proposing a temporary crossing to access the property for a day or two to do their test pits and assess the land there, and then the timber crossing will be removed. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And any sort of you stated there maybe some additional timbers or anything, those will be removed as well?
Yes, they will.
So I'd like to make a motion to approve
Now
IW 20.
Hearing, or are we under new business now?
This is new business.
Okay, got it.
So is there anyone from the public that would like to speak to this application?
This was just new business, not scheduled for a hearing. Not that there's
No?
anybody
Oh,
in
okay.
it.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're alone.
Okay. So I'd like to make a motion to approve IW 24-3 application for wetland disturbance associated with fill repair of existing culvert for site access, 0 Turnpike Road, map and lot 262300, applicant M. Peterson, owner SBSC Realty Group LLC, based on the revised plan for a proposed temporary crossing using timber matting, which will be removed at the end of the exploratory work on the site. Should we ask sediment and erosion controls? Did you guys propose any of that around there at all? I mean, I don't know if this requires that, but were you thinking of anything?
We discussed that. We did not propose any, thinking that we're just lying and placing these mats as needed. I didn't see where we'd be having erosion, or we're not excavating other than for the test pits, but at least not in the area of the crossing.
Okay. Well, that brings up another question. Where do you propose on excavating it? All in upland area, or anything in the upland review area?
I think it may be prudent to do some in the upland review area, something we dig with a small excavator and backfill before we leave. So, you know, typically there's a, when you leave, there's a change in the surface, but the soil's put back in the hole that you excavated. So we're going to be looking in numerous areas just to see what's there, as it seems like there's a lot of history, as you probably know more than me, on the site, of whether soil's been removed or what's happened over the decades.
Judging from my knowledge of that site, there's a lot of fill material that's been brought into that area to bring it up to the approximate elevation of Turnpike Road. That was all done by the prior owner or the owner before that. So you're going to find some interesting material in there, I would suspect, but I don't think it was a spoils site, if you will, for the I-84 rebuild when we went from 4 lanes to 6. I think most of that material from demolition of bridges and pavements is on the northwest side of 84. So I think it's a reasonably level site as it sits today. I think. I don't think that digging a few test holes is an issue. Yeah, as long as they're filled back in, throw some seed on it, we'll be good.
Yeah,
I'd
yeah,
be good.
we always fill them in. That's no question about that.
Yeah, the only, I guess, thinking about it now, because the test pit areas weren't illustrated on the site plan. If there's anything, I guess, in the upland review area of, I don't know, can you set up like a barrier or like just some straw wattle? I think maybe appropriate around, you know, wetland or stream side of your test pit area, just to add some, like a buffer or extra protection. Would that be too much to ask? Or
I guess in our experience, we have not done that in the past. I think it's a reasonably sloped, gently sloped site with minimal watershed. So I don't have a much concern for erosion after we leave the site.
Rick Zulik here, the soil scientist. I've never used erosion control on test pits in the past. I've been doing it for quite a while. There's not a lot of water that's going to pass over the top of the disturbed test pits. These pits are usually 3 to 4 feet wide and 6 or 8 feet long. I'm going to dig them myself, and return the same soil back into the pit that I removed and pack it down pretty well. We can throw some seed down, some rye or something that'll pop quickly, but I don't expect there to be any overland flow that's gonna bring any sediments into the brook whatsoever.
Okay. Well, that satisfies me. Any commissioners have any other questions on that? That being said, the applicant, as another condition, will backfill the test pits and apply a grass seed to stabilize the area. So is there any other further discussion about this application?
I have
Is there-
nothing. You have a motion? Did you get a second?
No, I'm looking
Patrick.
for a second now.
Well, you got it. I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you.
Okay, next item on the agenda, old business. I don't see anything listed there. Correspondence. Mike, do you have anything for us?
I don't have any correspondence.
All
There
right.
was, the only thing I guess I can update you on is there was a bill that would have required that Inland Wetland Commission members go to training annually, like planning and zoning. But as far as I can tell, it failed. So you don't have to, for now, at least.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think
training's
that
always
would-
good, though.
I think that was discussed at the Board of Selectmen's meeting as well.
Maybe next year.
Maybe. All right. And was that your staff report and discussion, Mike?
Yeah, I don't have anything else. I know you've been watching the property on Depot Street. It's been on the market, and met today with someone who was likely going to purchase it and went through the process with them of what would be required to have a plan approved. They're contemplating doing an actual home site on the property, so they're gonna be getting ready to have the wetlands delineated, and then ultimately will come before you. So I think that will be in front of you.
Wow.
Maybe in July.
Okay.
There was a previous, actually Gardner and Peterson prepared a plan which was presented in 1992 for a home site about 800 feet off the road.
Yeah.
It's been a while, but that one may be coming before you.
I remember that. There's not a whole lot of upland there.
No.
It's pretty tight.
Yeah. All right. Now we come to the part of the meeting. If there's anyone from the public that would like to speak. Oh, Ralph, you got your hand up?
Yes, I wanna ask a question about 88 Lucian. Mike, I think you've been aware of this. They want to modify a conservation easement.
88, that is, I think that's the address. I dealt with the property owner, Ryan Allard, and he presented to conservation informally and planning and zoning. So I explained to him that the last thing would be for him to present informally here. So I haven't heard back from him on if he wants to pursue that or when, but yes, that was something that he has considered.
Will we have any jurisdiction over that?
Well, you have jurisdiction over the activity that is all wrapped up in the development of the lot. The conservation easement was part of the planning and zoning approval, but given the proximity of wetlands, you would have a part of the review of the project, because he would need to come before you.
Right.
So, yeah.
Right here.
The
I just
inland
looked them up.
wetlands, but inland wetlands acted on this conservation or required this conservation easement back on July 10, 1995. And it was written into the land records that this conservation easement is permanent. And my problem with modifying something that has been filed in the land records and agreed to by a previous owner runs with the land and not with the owners. And any modifications to that, I think, are the current owner bought it knowing full well that this conservation easement was there. That would be my position on it. Any modification of a conservation easement is totally inappropriate.
I think the commission members need to be aware that there is a long history on this property, and
Yes,
previous boards and commissions have been very specific about how this property could be developed. And before we look at that, I want to make sure that we all know the history.
So would it be a good idea from the land use department to get us like a summary?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the intent was for him to go between the boards informally to have a discussion before going through the process of preparing plans. So the easement, at least in the way that I read it, said that it basically, the modification would be something that the town would have to approve. And they're not asking to simply remove it or reduce the area. The proposal is to swap out a couple hundred square feet for a 0.21 acre parcel that is not within the easement area in another part of the property. So I just told him that because this required multiple commissions to review and was unique, that he should go before everybody informally before he spends thousands of dollars on a plan. So I'm not sure where he is currently, but yeah, I mean, this would be a full-blown application and it would require all that background. We would certainly provide it if he decided to move forward.
Okay. So he's just kind of like in the preliminary stages and figuring it out for now.
Yeah, just a note that it's premature for us to talk about it at this point. But there is an extensive written record that at the point that it becomes formal for us, we will need to see.
Fair enough.
okay.
Okay, since Mark's not here,
I'll move that we adjourn.
is there a second on that?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Good night, all.